Today we'll discuss about overthinking. You might have heard this story of great illusionist Houdini. This story is one of the best examples that aptly describes what we're going to discuss today. So, Houdini was a brilliant locksmith in addition to a superb magician. Besides, he was arguably the most well-known escape artist of his day. He once asserted that if he could enter the jail wearing street clothes and left alone, he could escape from that in less than an hour. Several prisons all around the country attempted to challenge him, but Houdini was always successful. But then, one time things didn't go as Houdini planned. A jail in small town in South was very famous that it was never broken. Houdini had also heard about it before. Officials of that jail accepted his challenge and a day was set on which he was supposed to perform his trick. Now the designated day came. He entered the prison cell full of self-assurance. After all, he had performed it hundreds of times earlier. Once inside, he removed his belt, which contained a unique lockpick he had created previously, and began to use it. But he soon realized that there was something peculiar about this specific lock. He labored for 30 minutes but achieved nothing. And his confident demeanor began to wane. Then an hour passed, and still he had not been able to open the door. By now he was bathed in sweat and panting in frustration. After 2 hours he was totally exhausted and literally collapsed against the door. However, something unexpected happened. All of a sudden, the door swung open to his astonishment. He realized it had never been locked. Yes, you heard it right. Prison officers didn't lock the door. It was locked to him only in his mind. Friends, this story demonstrates the mind's incredible power. Let me ask you a question. How many doors in your life do you think are locked but are actually not? So if you are having sleepless nights because of endless looping thoughts, replaying your mistakes in your mind continuously, fixating on things you can't control and always imagining the worst-case scenario, then you might be suffering from the same condition which Houdini endured on that fateful day. It is called overthinking. Overthinking affects us greatly, much more than what we can realize. It influences how you connect with the world around you. It stops you from making important decisions and most importantly keeps you away from enjoying the present. But it's not that you can't detect it. Overthinking manifests itself in the form of many physical signs, some of which are fatigue, headaches, nausea, difficulty in concentrating, trouble sleeping, changes in appetite. If not handled in right time, such looping, endless thoughts leads to anxiety and depression. What's more, it is also linked to high blood pressure and poor cardiovascular health, sometimes even leading to heart attack and suicide. So, now question comes, how to handle it? Do you always have to reach out to doctors or psychologists? While this may be true for some people depending on their circumstances, the strategies I'm going to outline below can work brilliantly for the majority of people. So, first among these is called mindfulness. We will discuss this in complete detail. Mindfulness is significantly effective in controlling your emotions. You basically have to learn how to separate yourself from your thoughts and eventually control them instead of being always guided by them. To understand it better, first learn what happens when you're not mindful. It entails blindly accepting everything that comes to mind. In mindfulness, it is opposite. We observe our thoughts and selectively choose which thoughts to act upon and which to filter out. This powerful technique helps you to figure out unwritten rules in your mind which might be root of all problems. I'll try to illustrate using the hypothetical case of person A, who consistently has social anxiety-related issues in front of others. Sometimes even his close friends or family members are among these people. He frequently had to leave social events or festivities in the middle of them because the situation had gotten so bad. When he eventually visited psychologist, he figured out there was an unwritten rule in his mind that was causing this. And that rule was, he doesn't want to hurt anyone with his words or actions. For instance, if two of his friends are saying contradicting things in a gathering, he is not able to take sides. To his bad, if someone explicitly asked for his opinions, he always find himself looking for right words to express himself. From there, his condition starts aggravating. Even if such situation gets over, he endlessly keep thinking what he said, how he said, whether his behavior was appropriate or not. Psychologist was able to uncover his situation by asking him to observe his thoughts and was able to find the real reason behind this. With his help, this person A was able to make transformation from a person that always tries to make everyone around him feels good to a person who knows that he can't control how others feel but he could always try to be kind and assertive at the same time. This sort of awareness completely changed him. So with this method of detachment from your thoughts, you start discovering such unwritten rules and starts breaking them. Now we know how much effective this trick is. Let us go further in deep and discuss some series of steps you can take to adopt this practice. So first among these steps is, observe your thoughts and speak them loudly. So trick here is, whenever you find such thoughts troubling you, you take a deep breath and actively try to observe them and start saying them vocally. Needless to say, you've to take care of your surroundings, but if you're alone, or let's say working in your cabin, or working from home, you can follow it. Start saying, I'm observing this thought, X, that is troubling me now. And then if another thought comes to your mind, start saying, now this another thought, Y, that is affecting me. It would happen frequently that you'll be overcome by a wave of thoughts, but attempt to return your attention on this task of observing your thoughts as much as possible. Now, let us move to next step, which is, start writing down all these thoughts in a paper. As you start doing, you'll notice that, shortly you will have a list of thoughts that trouble you. We will make use of this list very soon, but if now you can move to the next step, which is, start giving names to these thoughts. For example, if there is a thought making you fear something, give it a name like, Joker. Please note, names could be anything as long you can relate it easily. So you can say loudly, oh Joker, you're visiting me again. Before we go ahead, you might be wondering why we're doing all these. What is the significance of all these steps? Don't worry, I'll explain it shortly, but for now just follow me to the next steps. So the next thing to do is, thank your mind. So, as a part of this step, as strange as it sounds, say, thank you mind for this thought, but just because you make me think it, doesn't mean it is true, but anyway thanks again. You may feel little awkward in doing all these steps for the first few times, but still continue to perform all these steps again and again for few minutes. Once wave of troubling thoughts has subsided, and you begin to feel better, then you can perform the last step, which is, fire the paper. So, now is the time to crumple up the paper in which you've written all these thoughts and throw it away or, if feasible, set on fire. Famous martial art expert Bruce Lee also used to do the same. So friends, we have reached the point where I will elaborate on the importance of all these steps. Actually, one significant thing you've done is and probably not noticed it. You've separated yourself from those thoughts. Yes, you have given them separate identities. This is a powerful signal to your mind that you are not what these thoughts are. And this exercise would make it believe you can destroy these thoughts as these are different from you. If you rigorously follow these instructions for at least a week, you'll notice that such thoughts soon have diminishing influence over you. Start doing this as often as possible, at least few times in a day, and you'll notice you're gradually improving. Well, let's move on to the next strategy, which is called positive reframing. Before explaining it, I'd want to stress, concentrate on the first trick alone for the first few weeks before incorporating this one also. So this tactic allows you to acknowledge the negative aspects, but simultaneously asks you to evaluate whether there's another way to think about the situation. For example, you can be hurt by someone's behavior which you think is quite mean and unacceptable, and you can't do much about it as of now. Rather than overthinking and causing yourself unnecessary distress, you can try reframing the situation by acknowledging that person may simply lack social skills. This approach may encourage your mind to think in a different and more helpful way. While it is true that situations can be complex and require a multifaceted approach, adopting a completely new positive perspective can be immensely beneficial in navigating them. Now let us move on to third and final technique, which is develop a hobby. Yes, as much cliché as this will sound, this is a super effective technique. Basically this means, if possible, get yourself involved in those activities that sounds interesting to you. If you can't think anything, then just go for a walk. Or join a gym. Or start doing yoga or any other form of physical exercise. Research has demonstrated that our body have lower level of stress hormones after exercise. So it literally helps our brain to slow down and reduce the amount of overthinking it is doing. Finally, let me summarize what we have learned in this course. We get to know about mindfulness, positive reframing, and finally develop a hobby. Friends, we've come to an end, but I'd like to give a bonus tip in the end. Listening and quickly moving to the next topic won't help here. This is what most of us do very often. So don't just move away to another YouTube video. Don't just think, you'll come back again. This will never happen. If your instincts say this could help, so take a pause. And start taking action even with a doubtful mind. But take it. You may never know how much beneficial it may prove to you over the period of time. So that's it for today. Please write in comment section how you feel about this video. If you like it, please don't forget to click on like and subscribe button. Thank you.